pressure of that same water closes the rent again. Or at least the crew prays it closes. Prays out loud, or silently. It is hard to tell because the blast leaves their ears deafened, ringing. Their murmured prayers add to the sounds, the awful sounds. The crew tries to remain quiet, no matter how badly they want to yell and plead to God, or to the Japanese above for it to stop. No screams or shouts in response are proper, only mumbled prayers, whispered orders, a quiet undertone of jokes as they whistle past the graveyard. Even the slip of a wrench on a bolt, or the squeak of a tightening pipe valve as the crewmen try to stem the inflow of the flood, might be picked up by the attentive enemy above. That would be more than enough to give them a hint of where they are, to allow them to drop the next batch of deadly charges closer, deeper. Some submarine sailors say the thing they most remember of those attacks is the pungent gumbo of smells, and the longer they remain imprisoned beneath the waves, the more that mixture simmers, the more a man has to struggle to suck enough breathable air into his lungs to stay lucid, to even stay conscious. Sweat, diesel fuel, bilge fumes, acid from the batteries, foul air, oil, spilled food, human excrement and urine from the heads that vent inside while they are submerged, getting pounded. Then the prickly odor of a different recipe of gas when leaking seawater reaches and reacts with the chemical in the batteries. And fear. Fear has a stench. Ask a man who has smelled it. He may not want to talk about it, though. He always smells it on himself first. Within about 8 hours after diving, the atmosphere inside a World War II submarine begins to become difficult to breathe. Longer, and it becomes toxic, even explosive. Precious air becomes just as much a hazard to the men as the depth charges beating and boiling the sea around them. All men are wired together differently. Some hold up better under such an attack than others. It is impossible to tell ahead of time which ones can and which ones cannot. Most do not learn until the very first time it happens. And fortunately, most come through fine, concentrate on their jobs, do what they have to do to get them through and to safety. Even though they may fear they will crack, or they simply do not know, they perform admirably, shining brightly in a dark, desperate situation. Others do not. They realize at the worst possible time that they simply cannot take it. No matter the simulations, the drills, it is simply more than they can stand. There is no quiz or Rorschach test to verify ahead of time which man cracks, which man quietly does his job, which man steps up and leads. It takes the real thing to do that, and by then, it may well be too late. Submarine duty has always been and remains a volunteer service. Some, when faced with such terror, decide to serve their country in other ways. Others do not survive to make the move off the boats. The success of the submarine navy in World War II verifies that most submariners shrugged off claustrophobia, misery, heat, choking air, gashes and bruises, and constant cloying fear. They knew this would almost certainly happen when they signed on. In a crisis, like a depth charging, they simply do the jobs they trained to do. There is no choice. Each man on board has a place to be, a station while on watch, and a duty to perform any time he is there. If a man is hurt, or overcome, or cracks, another is supposed to be able to step into his station and take over. If they do their jobs correctly, they have a considerably better chance to survive the attack, even if they are deaf from the explosions, weak from fear, fatigued from struggling for breath, and bleeding and bruised from the tossing about the attack has caused. Most try not to show that they are afraid, even when they accidentally piss themselves, inadvertently pray out loud, or whisper for their mothers when there is an especially close blast. Personalities change. Tough guys become weak. Meek men stand up and do heroic things. Exceptional men assume command and lead the others. They are all afraid, every last one of them. They are human. In most cases, they try not to judge those who do not hold up well during the attacks. Men who face death understand how small a distance it is from hero to coward. They are more tolerant of one another than someone who has not experienced it would be.